Harold Wilson 1964-1970. Harold Wilson, a prominent figure in British politics, was born on March 11, 1916, in Huddersfield, Yorkshire. His political journey began during his academic years at the University of Oxford, where he actively participated in student politics. Wilson's affiliation with the Labour Party intensified, and he soon found himself climbing the ranks within the party. In 1945, at the age of 29, he won a seat in Parliament, marking the commencement of his illustrious political career. Over the subsequent years, Wilson steadily rose through the Labour Party's hierarchy, holding key ministerial positions. His articulate speeches, strategic thinking, and keen intellect earned him the admiration of his peers, positioning him as a formidable political force within the party. By 1963, Wilson had ascended to the position of leader of the Labour Party, setting the stage for his eventual tenure as Prime Minister. As Wilson assumed the role of Prime Minister in 1964, the United Kingdom was undergoing a period of significant social and economic transformation. The 1960s marked the emergence of a post-war generation seeking change and modernization. Social attitudes were evolving, and cultural shifts were challenging traditional norms. Furthermore, the country faced economic challenges, with issues such as inflation and unemployment on the forefront. Internationally, the Cold War tensions were palpable, and the United Kingdom found itself navigating a complex geopolitical landscape. The specter of the Vietnam War, a conflict characterized by ideological divisions, further influenced global dynamics. Harold Wilson's ascent in the Labour Party can be characterized by a combination of intellect, charisma, and strategic political maneuvering. His initial foray into politics began during his time as a student at the University of Oxford, where he displayed a keen interest in student politics. Wilson's ability to articulate his ideas and connect with his peers quickly gained him recognition within the Labour Party. In 1945, at the age of 29, Wilson won a parliamentary seat, marking the commencement of his official political career. His early years in Parliament were marked by a commitment to socialist principles, and he actively advocated for social reforms and policies aimed at addressing post-war challenges. Wilson's unwavering dedication to the Labour Party's ideals contributed to his rapid rise within its ranks. As he navigated the internal dynamics of the Labour Party, Wilson's leadership qualities became increasingly evident. His colleagues respected his intellect, pragmatism, and ability to bridge ideological gaps within the party. By 1963, Wilson had successfully positioned himself as the leader of the Labour Party, an achievement that set the stage for his subsequent premiership. Prior to assuming the role of Prime Minister, Harold Wilson served in several key ministerial positions, honing his skills and gaining valuable experience in governance. One of his notable early roles was as President of the Board of Trade from 1947 to 1951, where he played a pivotal role in shaping post-war economic policies. Wilson's emphasis on modernization and his efforts to boost industrial productivity earned him acclaim and laid the foundation for his future economic initiatives as Prime Minister. Subsequently, Wilson held the position of Chancellor of the Exchequer from 1964 to 1967, a crucial period during which he grappled with economic challenges such as inflation and balance of payments issues. His approach to economic management and commitment to social welfare policies endeared him to the public and contributed to the Labour Party's electoral success in 1964. Wilson's tenure as Foreign Secretary from 1966 to 1968 showcased his diplomatic skills as he navigated international relations during the height of the Cold War. His contributions in this role demonstrated a nuanced understanding of global politics and an ability to represent British interests on the international stage. Collectively, Wilson's ministerial positions and contributions leading up to the premiership not only showcased his versatility but also provided a glimpse into the pragmatic and reform-oriented leadership style that would define his tenure as Prime Minister from 1964 to 1970. The 1964 general election in the United Kingdom unfolded against a backdrop of significant social and economic changes. The Conservative Party, led by Sir Alec Douglas Home, had been in power for 13 years, and the political climate was ripe for a shift. The early 1960s were marked by a desire for modernization and a departure from the traditionalism associated with the long conservative rule. Socially, the country was experiencing a cultural revolution. The younger generation, inspired by the changing global landscape, sought more progressive policies. Additionally, economic challenges, including high unemployment rates and inflation, contributed to a sense of discontent among the electorate. Harold Wilson's campaign for the 1964 election was strategically crafted to address the prevailing concerns of the time. As the leader of the Labour Party, Wilson presented a vision of a modern and socially progressive Britain. His campaign promises centered around economic reforms, social welfare initiatives, and the embrace of technological advancements. Wilson pledged to address unemployment and inflation while advocating for increased investment in education, healthcare, and housing. His vision for the country emphasized the importance of a strong and competitive economy that would, in turn, fund robust social programs. Wilson's charismatic and relatable persona resonated with voters, particularly the younger demographic seeking change. Furthermore, Wilson's campaign capitalized on the perception that the Labour Party represented a break from the traditionalist policies of the Conservatives. He positioned Labour as the party that would usher in a white heat of technology and lead the country into a modern era. The Labour Party's victory in the 1964 election marked a seismic shift in British politics. Harold Wilson's ascent to the position of Prime Minister signaled the end of over a decade of Conservative rule. The victory was not only a testament to the appeal of Wilson's vision but also reflected a broader societal yearning for change and modernization. Wilson's leadership style, characterized by pragmatism and a commitment to social reform, resonated with the electorate. The significance of Labour's victory lay in its ability to bridge generational and ideological gaps, appealing to both traditional Labour supporters and the emerging post-war generation. As Prime Minister, Wilson inherited a country facing economic challenges, but his government was poised to implement the promised reforms. The 1964 election, therefore, set the stage for a period of transformative governance under Wilson's leadership, making it a landmark moment in British political history. The victory not only reflected changing political dynamics but also signaled a shift in the national trajectory toward a more progressive and modernized future. When Harold Wilson assumed office as Prime Minister in 1964, he inherited a complex set of economic challenges. The United Kingdom was grappling with persistent issues such as high unemployment, inflation, and a balance of payments deficit. The economic landscape was further complicated by the decline of traditional industries, changing global trade patterns, and the need for modernization. Unemployment rates were a pressing concern, particularly in certain industrial regions that faced the decline of traditional manufacturing sectors. Additionally, inflation was eroding the purchasing power of the British pound, creating economic uncertainty. Wilson's government faced the daunting task of reviving economic growth while addressing these deep-rooted issues. Harold Wilson's approach to economic challenges was rooted in the principles of Keynesian economics. His government implemented a series of economic policies and reforms aimed at stimulating growth, reducing unemployment, and modernizing the economy. One of the key initiatives was the introduction of the National Plan in 1965, which outlined ambitious targets for economic growth, industrial production, and technological advancements. The Wilson administration also sought to address the issue of regional disparities by investing in development projects in the less prosperous areas of the country. Efforts were made to promote technological innovation and research and development, reflecting Wilson's vision of a white heat of technology driving economic progress. In 1966, Wilson initiated a devaluation of the pound, a move aimed at making British exports more competitive in the global market. While controversial, the devaluation contributed to an improvement in the balance of payments and signaled a pragmatic response to economic challenges. The global economic landscape during Wilson's term was marked by significant changes that impacted the UK economy. The post-war economic order was evolving, and the United Kingdom had to navigate the challenges posed by shifts in international trade patterns and currency fluctuations. The mid-1960s saw the United Kingdom facing increased competition from emerging economies, and the decline of traditional industries created additional pressure on the economy. The Vietnam War and the associated U.S. economic policies also had indirect effects on the global economy, influencing trade dynamics and contributing to challenges faced by the UK. Wilson's government had to adapt its economic strategies in response to these external factors. Diplomatic efforts were made to strengthen economic ties, and the UK sought to align its policies with the changing global economic order. Harold Wilson's tenure as Prime Minister from 1964 to 1970 was marked by a series of ambitious social policies and reforms implemented by the Labour government. The period witnessed a commitment to social justice, equality, and modernization, reflecting the Labour Party's ideology. Education reforms. The government under Wilson prioritized education as a key instrument for social mobility. The comprehensive school system was expanded, and the Open University was established in 1969, providing access to higher education for individuals who might not have otherwise had the opportunity. Healthcare initiatives. The Wilson government introduced several healthcare reforms aimed at improving public health. The National Health Service, NHS, received increased funding, and efforts were made to enhance the quality and accessibility of healthcare services. Housing policies. The government tackled housing issues by implementing measures to improve housing conditions and affordability. The Rent Act of 1965 sought to protect tenants, and programs were initiated to address urban redevelopment and slum clearance. Social welfare programs. Labour's commitment to social welfare was evident in the expansion of Social Security benefits and the introduction of policies to alleviate poverty. Measures were taken to provide support to vulnerable segments of the population, including the elderly and low-income families. The 1960s marked a transformative decade in terms of societal attitudes and cultural shifts in the United Kingdom. The post-war generation, often referred to as the baby boomers, came of age, and their values and aspirations began to reshape the fabric of society. Youth culture and counterculture. The 1960s witnessed the emergence of a vibrant youth culture challenging traditional norms. The swinging 60s in London became synonymous with a cultural revolution that embraced music, fashion, and art. The rise of iconic bands like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, along with the influence of the fashion industry, contributed to a global perception of British culture as innovative and trend-setting. Civil rights and feminism. The era saw the rise of social movements advocating for civil rights and gender equality. The influence of the civil rights movement in the United States inspired activism in the UK, and the feminist movement gained momentum, demanding equal rights for women. Sexual liberation. The 1960s witnessed a more open discussion of sexuality and the breaking of taboos surrounding issues such as contraception and abortion. The introduction of the contraceptive pill in 1961 revolutionized sexual attitudes and practices. During Harold Wilson's term as Prime Minister from 1964 to 1970, the United Kingdom played a crucial role in the context of the Cold War. The Cold War was characterized by ideological and geopolitical tensions between the Western Bloc, led by the United States and its NATO allies, and the Eastern Bloc, led by the Soviet Union and its allies in the Warsaw Pact. The UK, as a key NATO member, found itself navigating the complex dynamics of this global power struggle. Nuclear deterrence. The UK maintained its commitment to nuclear deterrence as a member of the Nuclear Club. The British government, under both Conservative and Labour administrations, retained its independent nuclear deterrent, and this commitment continued during Wilson's tenure. NATO membership. The UK's membership in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, solidified its position in the Western Bloc. NATO was a critical alliance for collective defense against the perceived threat from the Soviet Union and its allies. Harold Wilson approached international relations with a pragmatic and diplomatic stance. His government sought to balance the UK's commitment to its Western allies with the necessity of maintaining constructive relations with the Soviet Union and other Eastern Bloc countries. Détente. Wilson's government was characterized by a commitment to détente, a policy of easing tensions between the superpowers. This approach involved diplomatic efforts to reduce the risk of conflict and engage in dialogue with the Soviet Union. Wilson's government recognized the importance of fostering a climate of cooperation to avoid the escalation of Cold War tensions. Economic diplomacy. Wilson's focus on economic policies extended to his approach to international relations. The UK, facing economic challenges at home, sought to strengthen economic ties with its international partners. Diplomatic efforts were directed toward expanding trade relationships and securing economic cooperation agreements. Vietnam War. One of the most significant foreign policy challenges during Wilson's tenure was the Vietnam War. The UK, as an ally of the United States, faced dilemmas regarding its involvement in the conflict. Wilson opted for a cautious approach, providing political support to the US while avoiding direct military involvement. This decision reflected the delicate balancing act required to maintain the UK's alliance with the US while avoiding a deep entanglement in a divisive conflict. European integration. Wilson's government sought to address the question of the UK's relationship with the European Economic Community, EEC. In 1967, the UK applied for EEC membership, emphasizing the economic benefits of integration. However, the application faced resistance and was vetoed by French President Charles de Gaulle in 1967. Despite this setback, the application process laid the groundwork for the eventual UK accession to the EEC in 1973. Rhodesia crisis. Wilson faced a challenging situation in southern Africa during the Rhodesia crisis. The unilateral declaration of independence by the white minority government of Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, posed diplomatic challenges. Wilson's government opposed the illegal declaration and worked towards a diplomatic resolution, ultimately leading to the end of Rhodesian independence and the establishment of Zimbabwe as an independent nation. Harold Wilson's time as Prime Minister from 1964 to 1970 was marked by a series of transformative initiatives and responses to the challenges of the era. His leadership style, characterized by pragmatism and a commitment to modernization, left a lasting impact on British politics. Wilson's government pursued economic reforms, implemented social policies, and navigated the complexities of the Cold War with a diplomatic approach. The significance of Wilson's leadership lies in his ability to address diverse issues, from economic challenges to social reforms, while maintaining a delicate balance in international relations. His cautious approach to the Vietnam War showcased a commitment to diplomatic solutions and contributed to the broader discourse on the UK's role in global conflicts. While facing health concerns, political pressures, and internal challenges, Wilson's decision to resign in 1970 marked the end of an influential period in British politics. His legacy endures through the policies and contributions that shaped the nation during a time of significant social and cultural change. The enduring impact of Wilson's leadership extends beyond his term in office, leaving a legacy that continues to be evaluated and remembered in the annals of British political history. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.